My name is James Walker. I'm president of Watchman Fellowship. I'm also co-founder of something we call the Atheist Christian Book Club. And we just got through with our meeting, had a great conversation about Lawrence Krauss's book, A Universe from Nothing. And with me is Jim Hall. He was kind of a substitute co-founder.
Bill
had to step out a little early, and so I've known Jim, over a year.
Working on 2 years now.
Working on 2 years. And he is an atheist, author of several books on the topic, and also he's the co-host of something called the Atheist Edge, which I'm hoping to be a guest on pretty soon, if I can get to the edge of that. So, can you tell me a little bit about Atheist Edge? And
we're still young, still in our infancy. It's very scary, demanding times right now. We're still working the logistics out, but it's a podcast. It's available on YouTube, Stitcher, and hopefully, cross our fingers, in the next couple of days it'll be on iTunes as well. You can find Atheist Edge on Facebook, Twitter. If you want to send me a direct message, we're always looking for good interviews, people that can come on into the studio. We prefer theists, believers of all different stripes, and like James here, in a couple of days we'll hope to maybe get inside his head a little bit.
Well, now I'll have a little bit of a question about this. Am I going to be your first Christian guest?
You are our second guest total, first believing guest.
First believer in God guest. And so what should I do to prepare for that? How am I going to be able to survive this encounter?
I think our subject, if I would go ahead and just give you a little teaser, we're going to talk about the Latter-day Saints. So I think we're going to be on the same page, probably 90+% of the time.
Although you're atheist, I'm a Christian, we agree on one thing. Mormons have got it totally wrong. And so I was a Mormon before I became a Christian.
Exactly.
And so we're going to talk about that, I guess, in the podcast. If they were going to want to find the Atheist Edge, what's the easiest way to find that?
Quick search Atheist Edge on YouTube or iTunes or Stitcher.
Now, for all my friends out there, there's going to be a donate button. Do not press that button. You want to come to me, Watchman Fellowship.
I didn't mention we have a Patreon, which I know no one watching this show is going to donate to the Patreon, so I didn't even mention it. But
so just in case, if you believe in what I'm doing, you don't want to press that donate button. You want to press the Watchman Fellowship donate button, just to make sure there's no misunderstanding about that. But tonight we talked about, as our second meeting at the Atheist Christian Book Club, we talked about the Lawrence Krauss book. What did you think?
I think we came away with way more in common than I was even expecting. I think Lawrence Krauss's definition of nothingness is not what it seems to be in the early chapters. And when you nail him down on what he's actually talking about, his definition of nothingness is not nothingness.
Yes. So, and why is that important?
Well, it's the logical starting point. We have to start at what we mean by a universe from nothing. What is nothing?
Yes.
When you read the title of the book, you're thinking an absolute vacuum, and that's not what Krauss is talking about.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I was always kind of impressed with. Not so much with Mormonism, because they have a different understanding of creation, but with the Christian concept is you have this idea of a universe from nothing. It's ex nihilo is what it's called in Latin. That in the beginning God created the universe out of what? Legos? No, it was out of nothing. And so that's the ex nihilo. And so what happens since we have the Big Bang cosmology and this idea that the universe has a beginning? The universe is not eternal. That was the old steady state model, which has fallen into disfavor. Then that means if the universe had a beginning, there has to be a cause.
I may be a minority on this subject among my atheist peers, but I tend to agree with you that premise is pretty strong, that everything that began to exist has a cause.
Foundation
I think we're right there together.
Causality.
Yeah.
You don't just pull rabbits out of hats. There's something in the hat.
The only time we part ways is that cause right now for us is a big giant question mark, and for you, I think you already got the answer.
Well, and I think it is presupposition on our part, and I will acknowledge it came up in our club as we talked about it. This doesn't get you to the Christian God.
No.
What it does, it at least makes it reasonable to think there might be.
It paves the way.
A cause.
Yeah.
It might be a cause that could be supernatural. Non-physical, maybe that's a better way to say supernatural, a non-physical cause.
Either way you slice that, science falls apart, because all science is a tool that measures observable universe. once we start talking supernatural, we don't have a tool to measure that.
Speaking of measuring the observable universe, how do we ever scientifically interact with the multiverse, the alleged multiverse?
Completely hypothetical.
Yes. Well, so next month our book is going to be The Case for Christ. So I guess we're going to watch the movie The Case for Christ. I already watched it. I thought it was a pretty well done movie. And you've already read Case for Christ.
I've already read it.
So this will be a review for you.
Yeah, got to go back and read it again.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
we're alternating. We did a Christian book, atheist book, Christian book, atheist book. One thing I like, we had a couple of new people here, and we talked about these are important topics, I think, and we were intense, but there was a lot of respect, and that's one thing I like about it.
You always wonder with new people that aren't used to talking amongst mixed company in this format that how they're going to react to it. And,
yes. Yeah. Well, these are important topics, and I think this is something that that Christians ought to see. Sometimes we don't, but these issues are the most important issues in the world. Is there a God? How do we know there's a God? Is it just based because we want it to be true, or is there evidence for that? And then what does the other side say? All of my ideas sound great in church. That's the problem. But when I talk to people, I come to the book club, I find out, well, maybe some of my ideas are not as good as others. And so this helps me, I think, be a more precise thinker.
Keeps us all honest.
Keeps us honest.
Doesn't it?
Thanks so much, and we look forward to being on the show, The Atheist Edge. Please really do go there, and when I'm a guest on there, be praying for me. Don't pray for Jim. Be praying for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.